Alrighty, this is Michael from WordPress again after a long time. Hello again, good to see you. And today we're looking into Chemicloud, a very interesting hosting provider. So if you don't know me yet, I'm Michael from WordPress and I'm on the quest to find the best of WordPress. So without further ado, let's get to the body of this video. Alrighty, so what is Chemicloud? Well, in their own words, it's web hosting that simply works. Chemicloud is a shared and also a managed hosting provider who's offering various plans for hosting websites, so putting website online. They include a reliable cloud platform, a free domain, and some interesting plans and pricing. Because this channel is focused on WordPress, we'll be looking at their WordPress hosting offering, but they also offer some VPSs, which are some more powerful servers, some reseller hosting, and also some shared hosting. And basically, these two packages are the same, but branded differently. So let's just have a sneak peek at our WordPress page. If you commit for 3 years, the packages are pretty cheap, but if you go for a monthly package, it is a bit more expensive. Obviously, that is usually how most of these parties work, these bigger hosting companies that use shared servers. And again, the WordPress plans, they run on shared servers. And that means your website will run alongside other websites on the same server, alongside other clients. Don't worry, this is not necessarily a security problem because all these accounts are isolated anyhow, but still you're sharing the same resources. Let's just have a brief view into what they offer for the various subscriptions. You can also see that on their website. Obviously, I've been testing the WordPress Turbo plan, which offers up to 40 gigabytes of space. You can have unlimited websites on it. It's also able to handle more traffic and it has some more performance things. In essence, this package also offers, I think, 3 CPU cores and 3 gigs of RAM, which should make it suitable for somewhat bigger sites. They use AMD processors. They use LightSpeed as their web server, and this is a technology to serve websites, and also this gives some interesting speed performance advantages. Furthermore, Chemicloud is using Cpanel, which is a control panel to manage your website. We will see this later. And also there are some other integrations. These are some of the features we also will be showing inside the panel. And obviously, like every hosting party, they focus on much speed, security, and also ease of use, a fast WordPress launch. And that's something we also will see. One thing which I can already say, which is a good sign, is that Chemicloud is rated excellent on Trustpilot. And if we look to the reviews on Trustpilot, and assuming they're genuine, they're rated pretty high. Oh, the neat thing is they offer one website migration for free. So enough of the direction. Let's see how it actually looks like when you log in and how you can manage your website. All right, here we are. I'm currently logged in, and this is the screen you will be seeing when you are just logged in. I think it looks pretty good. It gives an overview of your services, how many domains you have registered. I don't have any domains registered at them. I have them somewhere else. Also, how many unpaid invoices and so forth. You can order new services in the Service tab. Shop now, add some new things. You can register domains if you go into the domain tab, and this will actually move you into a new screen where you can register a domain. There are some billing details where you can see your invoices and their state. You can reach out to support in here. Actually, for every hosting review I've write, there is a link to the elaborate review beneath this video. I also test support and I ask them some technical questions. I put an error in it. Let's see what happens. Furthermore, you can obviously they have some upselling things. such as additional email and spam services, some security tools, SEO, and such. And at last, there's also the possibility to become an affiliate and promote Chemicloud. Let's go back to the main dashboard. Yeah, there's even a tour. It's offered. If you are new, you will get this pop-up and it will start a tour and guide you through the whole dashboard. Very nice from a usability perspective. I already know it works, so we'll be closing it down. And as I mentioned before, Chemicloud is using Cpanel, and that's kind of software which is used by most or many shared hosting providers, and it's just an interface to make managing your website and your servers a lot easier. Let's just click on the service and see how it looks like. This active service, the Turbo subscription, awesome. And here are some quick shortcuts, and these actually link to the Cpanel itself. So why don't we start looking into email accounts? Yeah, and as you can see, this opens a new tab, and now we're in Cpanel. This is where the real deal happens. This is where the party is going on. In here, we can manage our website. We arrived at the email accounts part actually, but I will be clicking here on the left on the Cpanel logo to go to the whole overview. And in here, I can see all kind of details. I can see the IP address of the server, how much disk is used, the bandwidth that has been used, some domains, but here on the left, all the various options that are available at Chemicloud. Let's just briefly walk through them. There are many, and this is usually how Cpanel looks like. You will be, if you enter the panel and you're not used to it, you will get a lot of options, especially if you're new to a website. The odd thing is these shared hosting providers are basically aimed at people who are often new to a website. This may be a bit overwhelming because there are so many options. So let's start with email. There's an option to add email accounts. There's one in here, and I can just click create. And this is now the domain that has been added to this account. So I added also another as an exercise. And only these two domains are now supported for having an email address, and I can just add it in here, set a password, and so forth. That's how it works. And there are a couple of other options in which you can set up like forwarders. So forward email from one address to another address, set some routing up, autoresponders if you're on holiday, and so forth. And you can also see the disk usage of your email. Then let's move on to the files thing. In here we can have a file manager, and this will open up a new pop-up. And these are all the files that are currently on your server. And it's a pretty nice way to be able to view, and also you can edit files in here. And mostly the files your website is using will be placed in the public HTML folder. All right, back here in the Cpanel. An interesting thing is that many web developers or web professionals, they use FTP to access their servers using a special program such as FileZilla, and you can go to the FTP accounts part and add additional accounts that can be used to basically approach your server using FTP. And FTP is basically an abbreviation of the file transfer protocol, and allows you to link into the server files. It's pretty nice to see that there is an easy option also for FTP. There are backups of your files. You can set up backups here, and also database backups. In this case, WordPress is using both files and databases, as you may know. So both of these are pretty important to backup. And in the Turbo subscription, I think you have up to 30 days of backups. And these are created by default, I believe. Now there is an option for databases where you can see all the databases in here. And again, WordPress uses a database to store all the content of posts, your backend settings, and so forth. So it's pretty important. And neat thing to see is that Chemicloud also offers PHP My Admin, and this is an interface to basically manage your databases. And here we are. We can even see two of these previous databases I used to set up WordPress with, actually. And well, this is basically how a WordPress database also looks like if you haven't seen it before, with all the tables with several options in it. So in here, for example, we can see the URL of this website, which is host. Don't make it WordPress. Well, let's get back to Cpanel. All right, having spoken about databases, in the end, you want your website to be able to be able to be visited by a domain. And in this case, you can use the domains settings in here to also see what domains are in here, and also create a new domain. If you create a new domain, you should already have this domain registered. This could be at Chemicloud, but you could also use other parties. For example, Namecheap is a good one to register your domain, and then you need to point it back towards Chemicloud if you're using them. Nevertheless, there are also some additional options for domains, such as setting up redirects, one domain directed to another domain, and also add zones and DNS. We have some interesting metrics in here. You can see visitors, errors, the bandwidth, resources that have been used. I won't go into further detail because I want to focus more on how installing WordPress looks like, but I want to show you that it's possible to have these metrics. And furthermore, we have some security options, such as that we can block certain IPs, set up our SSL certificates, so we can have HTTPS on our website. And there is also Immunify 360, which is a virus scanner, basically a malware scanner for website, and also Mod Security, which is a firewall to block unwanted requests to your website. Then if you're a developer, you may also be interested in having SSH access to your server, which is another protocol for accessing your website and your website files. It allows you to do more things over a command line interface. Then, well, there are a couple of other options in here below. There are several integrations with software we have in there, such as setting up a Python app or integrating Cloudflare, which is an amazing content delivery network. We have some advanced settings as well, such as setting up LightSpeed. I'll show you that later, and also setting up some general preferences for this dashboard, so our password, and if we want to have other users to this dashboard. So this was basically a quick overview of how Cpanel looks like in Chemicloud. Now let's see how we can install WordPress. For this, we have the WordPress manager. So this is basically a tool within Cpanel, and it will open up another tab. There we go again, which looks a little bit different. Again, it's called Softaculous, and that is another piece of software which goes along with Cpanel and allows you to install a lot of different kinds of software. You can see the categories here on the left, and I will be focusing on WordPress. And let's just install another new WordPress installation. We'll put this in, let's put it in directory WordPress. We can set up our name of the site, the description. We can set up an admin username, some random password, use it as a password, set up some admin email address. Wow, this looks fine. Choose a language, and also pre-install some plugins by default. Backups, limit login attempts to make the login more secure, and the classic editor. There are also some advanced options, so we can change the name of a database that is used by WordPress. Also, for example, set up the auto upgrade of plugins and themes. change our backup location, and also if we want to auto upgrade WordPress. So I think this is nice. Let's install WordPress. And by the way, 2 other things: you can email installation details once it's done to an email address here. And you can also add plugin sets in here, and then you can expand this list with other plugins which you can select and which you can then install by default. Now let's install, and there we go. This usually takes not 3 or 4 minutes, but goes much quicker. And here we have WordPress installed on Chemicloud using Softaculous. And as you can see, this is just a regular WordPress blog using the 2023 theme. Looks pretty neat. Let's have just a brief view in the backend. And actually, this looks just like a regular WordPress backend. It runs pretty smooth. The basic plugins are there, the basic posts, everything you would expect from a brand new WordPress installation. So that's how you install WordPress on Chemicloud. Now, a couple of other things I wanted you to show is that in Softaculous we have this WordPress manager, and in this we are able to basically manage our WordPress installation. It's also available here on the left blocks WordPress. There are a couple of options about it, some explanations about features. You can import an existing WordPress installation from the same server or from a remote server as well. Pretty nice. You can set up some security measures related to WordPress, but then you have to select one site. Let's select the site we have created first and block some of these things, which actually make WordPress more safe. Won't apply this at the moment. Again, this clearly indicates that Chemicloud is a shared provider. You have to set up a lot of things yourself, such as these manual security settings. If you would be using a managed WordPress provider, you have to deal with a lot of settings, and you will be just adding your website. And there will be some settings, of course, but not as much as in here and not as detailed as in here. Now we can also use this to directly log in to WordPress and also manage our WordPress users. In here we can select an existing user and change the password and also add new ones. So directly from this panel, we can add users and they will be added into WordPress. So they're not just users for your Cpanel, but for your WordPress installation. Very nice. And of course you can click on the domain and then we will be arriving here at the website. Now, let's also briefly go back and see if you can see more details of these WordPress installations. So in here, we can also see our current installations. We can delete them. You can see how they're installed. We can clone them, so I basically duplicate them. Very useful. We can also create a staging environment. I did here above. And a staging environment is basically a kind of copy of an installation, which you can push back and forth changes on your staging environment. So you make some changes on this staging environment and then say push to live, and it will be put to the live installation, which in this case is /blog. Very useful if you're developing a site alongside an already existing site. All right, let's just view our our new site. This is how managing our WordPress website looks like. Basically, this is the basic info. You can change some things such as the URL, the blog, enable or disable some of these options we have spoken about before. Also view the database. This will open up PHP admin, which you also see before, and do the clone staging. Also backup this page or restore a previous backup. Also remove or uninstall other things. So this is how installing WordPress in Chemicloud looks like. I think it's a pretty neat process, but again, it's using Softaculous and also in Cpanel. So you have to click to 3 screens before you arrive at the given screen. which can be a hassle. Once you're used to it, it's very easy, but it can be a hassle at the beginning. Now, what do I think of Chemicloud? I have actually had a pretty good impression of them, and I think they're one of the better shared hosting providers I reviewed. I also have been in contact with support, and I had some more difficult technical questions to them. I put a bug inside my code by purpose, and they replied within 15 minutes after my ticket was sent in. So I think that's pretty fast. Price-wise, they're also pretty good. They're on the same level as other shared hosting providers, such as A2 Hosting, Hostinger. Moreover, their performance is quite okay, and I want to talk about that also, because they're using LightSpeed, and this is a web server technology, and that also brings the famous or infamous, according to some, LightSpeed cache plugin. So how does it work? I'll be just going back to Cpanel now. So the basic control panel we were in Softaculous, and then we go to LightSpeed Web Cache Manager, and in here we can set up LS cache. We can change some of these settings, flush cache, but also see what of these plugins are available. I already enabled LightSpeed cache for WordPress for this main domain. I can, of course, scan and then see if there are other WordPress installations in here. And now the thing we just added, yeah, it hasn't had any cache yet, so we can enable it for the installation we just added. And now it's enabled. Very nice. Now that this is turned on, the LightSpeed cache plugin is added to WordPress. So let's see how it looked like. And here we are now. I'm at the installation we just added, and we can see this LightSpeed cache plugin has been added with all these wonderful options, presets, and so forth to set up caching. And this will greatly enhance the speed of your website, actually. Very nice plugin. It has a lot of options. It's not in the scope of the video to discuss this, but it will greatly enhance the performance. And speaking about performance, how well does Chemicloud do in terms of performance? And I can say they're pretty okay, especially for cached pages. If you want to see all the statistics for 4 or 5 performance tests I did, you can also view the article that's linked below this video. Anyhow, I will show you 2 important metrics. This is loader.io, and you can use the tool to simulate a certain amount of visitors going to this website and visiting this website. I did a test before with Chemicloud, and it turns out that if you turn caching on, so if you're using LightSpeed, they are doing very well. I have a test, and one of the conditions of the test is that the response time should be below 2 seconds for the majority of the requests. And then I test how many requests or how many visitors at the same time this website is able to handle. And this is actually one of the best figures I have seen when testing shared hosting providers. In their setup, they can support almost 6,000 clients a second. This test is doing 5,800 clients in 1 minute, and it runs still pretty fast with an average response time of 112 milliseconds. So I think that says enough. It's a great party if caching is turned on. Then on the downside, Then on the other side, if you turn caching off, the website is only able to handle 16 clients in 1 minute, and having still reasonable response times. It's or it's a lot higher than the previous test, as you can see, but this is still acceptable, but a lot lower. And that's also said a lot about the power of the servers. I did some other benchmarks and I think the servers are okay. They're not the fastest one, but they're fast enough. But if you compare this to some of the managed hosting providers with focus on WordPress, they can handle a lot more uncached clients. And why is this figure important? This figure says a lot about how fast also your backend will be, especially if you have a larger website. And also such a provider will be able to handle larger web shops really well, because often if you have a web shop, you cannot use caching. If you want to know why, you have to ask me. That's a topic for another video. Nevertheless, with caching turned on, their performance is amazing. The uncached performance is okay.
All right, so what is my verdict? So overall, Chemicloud scored 4.2 out of 5. So that's a pretty good score for a shared hosting provider. And this is the average score of the 5 criteria I tested. If you want to read more about it, please also view the review, the link to the full review below this video. I graded Chemicloud 4.5 out of 5 in terms of features. They're pretty feature rich. They offer email. They have a WordPress manager. You can set up staging for WordPress. You have WordPress cloning. You can add users. There are some pretty good security options in it as well. They do not have some of the more advanced tools that some other managed hosting providers have. Hence, the score then, usability 3 out of 5. You have seen it in the video. The screens look pretty okay, but to install WordPress, you have to click 2-3 screens, and usability is just a little bit less. Pricing, they're priced very well. They're not the most cheapest, but they're close to being very cheap, and also offering a good value for what you get. So pricing gets a 4.5 out of 5. Then performance. In terms of cached performance, they're crushing it. They're nailing it. It's amazing for my test. Outside of that, the figures are good, but the uncached figures are not that good. If these would be higher, they would get a 5. Nevertheless, in this case, they will get a 4.5 out of 5 for performance. And at last, support. I think support is really good. There are several ways of connecting them. There's a good knowledge base. Also, there are videos about common WordPress topics as well. So there's a lot of support resources out there. And also the support I experienced was really friendly, really fast, reacted within 15 minutes to a lot of questions. So I think it's really good. And that's the overall verdict. So thanks.
All right, I hope you like this video and you have a good view on what Chemicloud can offer, how to operate and how to work. And thanks for watching again and have an amazing day.